Kia ora guys, Gabberscon Gaming here. Today we're going to be looking at the Dark Arbiter talent. Is it good, and can it be used for PvP effectively? The Dark Arbiter is the level 100 talent. You'll be taking this over Defile and Soul Reaper if you choose the Dark Arbiter. Dark Arbiter also replaces Gargoyle, and it only lasts for 15 seconds. It's on a 3-minute cooldown just like the Gargoyle. However, there are some differences between the Dark Arbiter as well as the Gargoyle. Obviously, otherwise you wouldn't want to be taking this as your level 100 talent. So there are some hidden stats that I'll quickly go over. The Dark Arbiter actually has the exact same stats as the Gargoyle, which is 47% of your attack power will be converted into shadow power, into spell power, and it has 125% armor as well as 50% health. It chain casts Valkyr Strike instead of the normal Gargoyle Strike if it was a Gargoyle. This has a 2-second cast time and it deals 7 times your attack power as shadow damage. So you could go through and you could calculate this as like, oh yeah, what's my attack power, and then go from there. However, I'm just going to go using the recount because I find that's a bit more effective, because I can also see the crit strike that will come up as well. And we'll go over that soon. With the Dark Arbiter, it also gains 1% increased attack damage per runic power you spend, and this stacks additively, not multiplicatively. Mouthful. Multiplicatively. Another thing to note as well, the Dark Arbiter's Valkyr Strike deals 70% damage in PvP, so it is scaled down. So what you're going to see here, expect 70% of that damage to be hitting a player. So yeah, it might look cool at the moment, but for player burst for only 15 seconds, you might want to take a step back and have a proper look at it. Like, is this going to be good for me, kind of thing. So with Dark Arbiter, compared to the Summon Gargoyle, the Gargoyle, the tooltip for it is, a Gargoyle flies into the area and bombards the target for 40 seconds. It's on a 3-minute cooldown. So this Gargoyle is going to strike its normal 2-second Gargoyle strike every 2 seconds for 40 seconds, so long as it's within line of sight. It lasts 40 seconds, it's on a 3-minute cooldown, so that's pretty good. It's fairly good consistent damage. Really good for when you're trying to burst as well. Whereas the Dark Arbiter is lasting only 15 seconds, but it gains a massive damage increase the more runic power you use. So with the runic power being used, you're obviously not wanting to pop Dark Arbiter at the start before you've got any runic power, otherwise it's just going to deal the same amount of damage as a Gargoyle, and you're not going to be making effective use of your level 100 talent if you choose Dark Arbiter. So from here, now that I've given you the down low of how Dark Arbiter and Gargoyle works, what I'll do is I'll stack up some runic power, and I'll just slowly go through real nicely so we can see on the recount just how much damage the Dark Arbiter can do if we are using as much runic power as we possibly can for a nice burst. And we'll see just how much damage it does compared to the Gargoyle. I'll go through in the background, and I'll also bring up the stats for the Gargoyle as well, so you can see just how much damage it does compared to the Gargoyle. Another thing to think about as well is you might want to have a few runes left, as well as maybe a free death coil as well, just in case you want to get some proper burst. So from what we can see here, bring this out, the Valkyr Battle Maiden. Valkyr Strike, it only hits 7 times because it lasts for 15 seconds and it strikes every 2 seconds. At the start, it started hitting a minimum of 33,000 damage every 2 seconds, which is the Gargoyle's normal base attack. That's what you'll expect to see from the Gargoyle. And Then it did one massive crit near the end, but on average it was hitting between 50 to 60,000 damage. As you can see, this is some pretty big burst within a 15-second window, especially coupled with the rest of your burst rotation that you might be going through. So with the gargoyle done in the background, here you can see the gargoyle hit 20 times because it lasts 40 seconds and it has a 2-second cast time between each attack. It dealt a total of 200,000 damage, approximately. It hit 14 times with a count of 6 crits, and it was dealing 11,000 as a max, 7,000 on average, 17,000 with a max as a crit, and 14,000 on average. So this will be for consistent burst damage on a much bigger window compared to the 15-second window that has a super high damage output. But one thing to note though is that the Valkyrie Battle Maiden is just like the gargoyle, meaning it can be silenced, it can be interrupted. So they might let you get off 1 or 2 casts just at the start, but with all of that runic power that you're spending, if they see that you're doing this, they can easily just silence or interrupt your Valkyrie Battle Maiden and maybe just keep it locked down so that no damage can come from it. That's your 3-minute cooldown gone. You're going to have to spend the next 3 minutes making up for it, trying to stay alive until that time. So I'll leave it up to you if you really want to choose a talent with a 3-minute cooldown that only lasts for 15 seconds. I recommend taking this talent if you are dueling someone who does not have a ranged silence or interrupt ability, and or perhaps 2s if you're in a burst 2s comp. But even then, it's really finicky, and you might still be better off using something like Soul Reaper instead. I'm Gaviscon, and you've been watching my video on Dark Arbiter. I'll see you again next time.